and welcome to another exciting episode of The Energy That Surrounds Us. I am going to take a moment before I introduce my awesome guest to you today to do a little housekeeping of this episode is airing for two reasons today, which is a Wednesday. Normally we're on Tuesday nights. That is because last night was our Independence Day for the U.S., so happy Independence Day to everyone. And the other reason is because the original night this guest was scheduled, I had to take my father to the hospital and he ended up passing away. And so I am truly grateful to be able to get him back on because this guest is not only the owner of one of the networks we're on, but also really cool, and I think you all are going to enjoy him. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Bryan-Jon Laverty.
Hey, buddy. First, I'd like to. I know we've talked over the week, and I want to give my condolences for your father's passing. I'm sorry to hear that, and yeah, it's tough. It's tough. And how I asked you earlier, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, and what keeps me going with these shows is he was a huge fan. He always would love to, after the show, ask me questions about the guest or
That's great.
comment about the guest. And so to me, it's a way of, yes, I'm mourning and it's hard, but at the same time, I feel like I'm doing it for him too now.
Yeah, yeah. Were you very? I'm assuming you were close to
Yes,
your
we
father.
were.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Again, my condolences, and he's in a great place. He's in a great place, and
He is.
watching and taking care of you, and that's all you have to think about. And I always tell people that sometimes when a loved one passes, we tend. What happened? What happened there?
It seems like you froze for a second.
Yeah, I think your father's speaking to us.
It
I think
might
your
be.
father's looking down at us. But yeah, like I said, when somebody passes, we always tend to think of the negative before the positive. But just keep thinking about the positive, and that will get you through it. That's what I
Yeah.
always say. Yep.
Well, and we actually had the gift of a friend of mine that's a paranormal investigator was on an investigation at a location I was recently at, and she and I have met and talked a little bit, but she doesn't know my background as much as she does now since we talked about this. But one night, they, the Friday right after my dad passed, they got a name that came across their devices as they were putting everything away at 2:30 in the morning. Joseph, which is my dad's name,
Okay.
and that alone to me is like, wow, that's a name they've never heard, and that was pretty cool. But then there was a phrase that came with it that I knew it had to be him,
Okay.
and she kept hearing the phrase Chicago pizza.
Oh. Okay.
Now, I was raised for 6 years in Chicago,
Okay.
so that's where I associate, being
I got you.
from.
I
And we
got you.
loved Chicago pizzas, and I was like, yeah, I don't tell a lot of people, you know, being from Chicago, that
Yeah.
story. And so for her to come up and say that, I was like, you're
That's
kidding.
incredible. That's great. That's great. I've
It,
never heard. I've never had. Well. First of all, I've never been to Chicago, but I do hear the pizza is good there.
oh, it is.
Is it?
It it's it's more of a pie than a pizza.
Okay. Okay. I'm not a big pizza person, but every so often I might have a slice or two. But it's not one of those things where I desire. So
Right.
yeah. But no, but I want to say thank you. Thank you for having me, and
Yes.
appreciate it. And I look forward to chatting with you today. I see that now I saw in the comments here, Kelly's in the room,
Yes.
and you were shocked. Is that because she's watching?
Well, she's having internet troubles, and
Oh, okay.
I know her by her name, and I said hey to her, and she goes, "It's Kel, by the way," and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm shocked, like in a joking way, saying,
Okay.
"I know who you are."
Yeah. I saw she said that. So yeah, that's funny. That's funny. What's this all reet, Brian? Is that supposed to be all right?
I think so, or yeah, I think it's all right, Brian. I think
Okay.
she's typing on a phone, so
Okay.
we'll have to
Okay.
give her that one.
Autocorrect. Damn autocorrect. See,
Autocorrect is a pain in the ass.
yeah, it is. It is. I have something on my computer that it means I'm assuming that it means hello,
Yes,
but she put a 3 there instead of an E. Kelly has her own language.
she
She has her
does.
own printing language. Yeah, it's Jordy. I got it. I understand. Nando, happy birthday. It's Nando's birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Nando. I hope you're having a good day, or at least I hope you had a good day because I know it's 9 o'clock there now. So I hope you had a great birthday. Big 3-8. I remember that. I remember the big 3-8 for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm 45, so it wasn't too long ago.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I remember the 3-8. It's good times. Good time. My 30s was great, to be honest.
Yeah, mine were
Except
too.
my divorce. My divorce wasn't so good, but that was at the beginning of my 30s, so that's okay.
So you had the rest of your 30s to make up for it.
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, the beginning of my 30s wasn't spectacular, but near the middle, near the end, it was great. So,
Well, at least it got better.
yeah, well, I was I had a very very good time. Actually, it's funny because we were talking about before we came on the air, we were talking about long distance relationships. I
Right?
was actually dating a girl that lived in North Carolina.
Really?
Yeah. But it was a 10-hour drive for me, or 11-hour drive. So I think we dated for about 6 months, 6 or 7 months. And then I ended up finding out she was a practicing witch.
A good one or a bad one?
Bad one.
Oh yeah.
She was a Wicca, and she was the bad side of it. And yeah, so the to say the least, the relationship ended quite quickly after that.
You're probably lucky to still be standing.
Yeah, well, yeah. She was the type of witch or Wicca that um, she would cast spells,
Right.
and it was and as we all know, if you're into Wicca or witch or whatever, if you cast a spell, it usually comes back tenfold on you, especially if it's a protective spell. So she always handed out a lot of protective spells, and she would pay for it. She would pay for it for sure. So, but anyways, after I found out that she was a witch, practicing witch or Wicca, not that I have a problem with that, but if I were to ever date another Wicca, I would never have a problem with that. But unfortunately, she was the bad side of it. She was, yeah. That's all I'll say.
And it's funny you bring that up because I've always I know some women that are witches and stuff, and I've thought about asking a couple of them out once, and then I was like, no, I decided not to because
Yeah.
I was like, how do I know this is really me and not them doing something to draw me in and there's no real connection there?
Well, I'll tell you something even more crazier. There's a guy that I work out with at the gym quite a bit. Um, he found out he'd been dating this girl for, gosh, I don't know how long. I think a year or two, around a couple of years, he ended up finding out that she was a practicing witch, and she was actually casting spells on him. And not to get gross, people, I'm sorry, not to get gross, but she was actually putting her monthly visitor in his food.
Okay, that's beyond gross. That's just,
Yeah.
that's
And
just
you know what that's
wrong.
for, right? You know what that's for, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That is for possession.
yeah.
That is for ownership. And she was casting all kinds of spells on him, and he didn't even realize. But he got out of that relationship when he found that out. If I found out that a girl that I was dating was doing that, first I think I would throw up probably about 30 times, and then get out of that very quickly. But the Wicca or the witch that I was dating, she was nothing like that. But she had a lot of possessions take over her. She had a lot of possessions. So, and it was quite scary, some of the possessions that were taking her over when she was putting on protective spells. Because as you know, I don't know if you know this, but a practicing witch, if they put out a protective spell, it comes back to them tenfold.
Right.
So, yeah, Kel, it was, when he told me that, I nearly threw up. And Anthony has dated a lot of them.
So has Wraith World.
Yes. Well, it's the same person.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know why he's coming from two different things, but not all witches are bad. Yes, I know, not all witches are bad. Look at, I do know a few witches that are very, very good. It's interesting. The good witches, like from Wizard of Oz, right? The good witch. So,
right.
Yeah, but could you imagine? Could you imagine finding that out?
No, actually, no. I thought it was bad enough being stalked once in college by a girl who. So the story goes, I went on one lunch date with her, and next thing I know, my roommate who works in the cafeteria where we ate says to me, "Oh, her parents are coming up and they can't wait to meet you." And I'm like, "Why did they want to meet me? I've only been on one date with this person, and that
There's a
was
red
like
flag.
3 weeks ago. Haven't contacted her."
There's a
And he
red
goes,
flag.
"Well, she told him you're her boyfriend." I said, "She said
Okay. Okay. Unfortunately, when it comes to stalkers, I've lost count.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
that was a
not trying to
nice
toot my own horn or anything like that. I'm not saying that. It's been happening since I was like 16 years old. So I've had plenty, and especially even now when they find out, or if I'm out and about. See, I have to be a little bit careful sometimes when I'm going out because of the acting that I do here in Toronto. Sometimes people do. That's great, Anthony. I went to India as well. Oh, that's cool. Good for you. I don't even know what that is. Sorry.
So Hadrian's Wall is the wall that Rome built between northern Britain and Roman Britain on the south.
Okay. So is this the place that's like only 2 minutes from her?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, now it's all coming back. So with my acting here, every so often I do go out and I get recognized, and I've had some issues with that as well. So you got to be careful, especially today's world.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many messages I get from random people that I don't even know, and it's scary. It's really, really scary. Now, probably a majority of those beautiful women are probably men behind the
Right.
computer, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, with the internet, you have to be careful. So,
Yes, you do.
yeah.
I even had not as destructive of a stalker as that guy had, but I had one that would come to my house banging on the door at like 7 a.m. for like 5-10 minutes until I was like, I guess she figured I wasn't home, and so I was
Mm.
safe to move around the house. I would not. I would stand by the door, the window, looking and going, "Please don't see me. Please don't see me."
Yeah, yeah. Well, if you want to get into stories,
Oh, it got
there.
worse. She
This.
would tell my best friend I was putting dead squirrels in her driveway.
Oh,
And I
Lord.
was like, "What?" And she's like, "You realize I know who you're talking about. He would never kill a squirrel." I'm like, "Yeah, I would never kill a squirrel." I'm like, "Where
Yeah,
did this come from?"
it's crazy. Yeah, relationships are crazy, but some people are crazy. There was a girl. I always think of this girl. She was beyond anything I'd seen before. She actually tried to stab me, and yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. She came after me, and 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 I wouldn't return her phone calls. I wouldn't do anything like that. I blocked her on my phone. I tried everything, but she just came after me. She just came after me, and she was standing outside my house. I went outside my house, and she tried to stab me.
That is just bizarre.
Yeah, yeah, and it is what it is. She wasn't a very big girl, so it wasn't like I couldn't overpower her or anything like that. But you have to worry about a knife that's in her hand.
Right.
So, but no, it's crazy. Let's get off that topic. It's
Yeah.
yeah. Let's get off this topic. God.
Yeah.
All the memories are just, and like even up till recently, all the memories are just coming back, and
I know. I,
yeah.
I feel
So
like we're having a gab fest more than a show.
yeah, kind of, eh? That's
But
crazy. So
so Parapost International, we're now airing on that. Thank you for giving us access.
yeah, of course.
What's your goal for the international side of Parapost?
Um, Parapost International was really created not only it was mostly by Nando and Jenny Sullivan. They came to me with the idea of starting a second one for groups outside of North America. So the real focus is to get vodcast live investigations that are outside of North America. So like the Europe, the anywhere else outside of North America. So that's really why we started the page. But we wanted to get some people on the page just so it's going, like yourself and Anthony, and you and Kelly are on there as well.
Right.
And a few, Miranda Young, the ghost biker explorations, she's on there. So we are trying to bring more international groups. Like we do have Chris Mule and Dakota on there as well from the Bald and Bonkers, and also Chris Mule and Drew from Haunted Scotland. They're on there once a week. So really, it was about bringing international vodcasts and live investigations just to spread it out a little bit, rather than them coming onto the Parapost Network Central page. So Nando and Jenny wanted to do it. I said go for it, and they're basically the ones running the page. So obviously the page is under my umbrella, but they're really the ones that are running it. So we are going to have more vodcasts coming up there that are going to be more international. Yeah, we do have some that are North American, but eventually, and I'm sorry, I'm going to have to say this, but eventually the people that are like, not for yourself and Kel, but eventually what we want to do is we just want to strictly have it international, because
Right.
that's really what it is. So I wasn't a big fan of the Parapost 2, to be honest. I thought, like but the problem is they go, well, let's change it. Well, you can't change it now. It's Parapost 2 International.
Right.
So, so
Hindsight
I
gets you
I would have
every
preferred.
time.
What's that?
I said hindsight gets you every time.
Yeah, well, I would have preferred just Parapost International. That would have been fine. But again, the page is just not like as you probably saw a few months ago. We put a post out there that we're opening up our network
Right.
to different types of vodcasts. If Kel's still in the room, I want her to bring her passion, what she does on. I've been trying to convince her to do that.
Join
But
the
we're
club.
opening the vodcast up to other than just paranormal. So we do have one that's coming up on Parapost Network Central, and that's a chef. He's a chef at a restaurant, and so he's going to be filming his, or he's going to be doing his live in the restaurant and going through everything and trying to connect that, trying to get that going. Right now, he just had a good friend pass away, and he's dealing with some stuff at work. So hopefully that will be up within, the next little bit. We'll get that going. So my point is, we're opening it up. We just don't want paranormal. We want to expand our horizons, I guess, so to speak.
Right.
So I definitely would love to get what Kel does on the show. I think a lot of people would like that. I've told her that several times. And I'd like to get maybe some fishermen on like fishermen that do a vodcast. I'd love to do that, get them on. I'd love auto mechanics. I'd love somebody that's maybe an author that writes books and get them on. And I really want to open it up to really expand it to just other than paranormal. And there's a lot of great shows out there, and I think they would really benefit coming over because they're going to get new viewers. And then on top of that, the shows that are already on there will also get new viewers because of that new vodcast. So, and yeah, I'd love to have somebody that does music. We were possibly going to have one that dealt with music. Unfortunately, he started another show, the Cemetery Files. He was thinking about doing Jay Hill. He was thinking about doing a music show, and I think a music show would be amazing to have on the page, because a lot of people listen to music, and I think they would get a lot of viewers from the pages, and then on top of that, his viewers from his own page could possibly come over to our page, and you guys get new viewers, right? So it's about working together. It's about everybody watching everybody's show. The biggest thing, though, the biggest thing that I've always said, that really, if we're going to build this page, everybody on the page needs to start sharing the pod or the vodcast out and the live investigations out. And Don Vick is on the page, and he's done extremely well. He's always sharing out your guys' videos or your live streams. So we need more people to do that, to share out more, to get more attention, so more people can come to the page. So, but it's interesting. I don't know if I started a trend, but back when I started, there were like a year and a half ago, there was only a few networks. Now they seem to be popping out of the woodwork now, because they know how well they do. So, yeah.
And to be honest, the only reason I'm on the Parapost 2 International today is because you're the guest. It sounds like,
well, you can go live. You can go live. You can go live anytime on the page. You're an editor, so don't worry about it. You and Kel's in the UK, so that's still international.
Right.
And
I just meant with this show.
Yeah, and again, go for it. Until we get to the point where there's a lot of international shows, it's going to stay as is. So continue streaming there. And once we get more international, you guys will probably stay on the page anyway, so don't worry about it. It's not a big issue.
We appreciate you.
Yeah. Of course, at the end of the day, it's really not my decision.
Right.
It's just my name. It's really Nando's and Jenny's. And Jenny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all you have to do is sweet talk her a little bit. Just sweet talk her a little bit. That's all you need. Tell her that she looks great. Her hair looks great. She'll be fine.
Well, that wouldn't be much of a stretch because it usually does.
Yeah, that's true. But you know, they like to hear it. They like to
Oh
get
yeah,
compliments. You know, so you know that.
yeah, and
You know,
I'm hoping to get Jenny on as a guest because not only
yeah,
does
she's
she
great.
do paranormal, but she also rescues animals,
Oh
which I
yeah,
think is
yeah.
super cool.
Did you see that new one she has?
Yes.
Yeah. And she doesn't really rescue them. What she does is they're usually at the vets or like a rescue clinic or whatever you want to call them. She brings them in and then homes them.
Right.
Which I
Fosters.
guess is kind of the same thing. She fosters, but no, that's great. Did you see that new one she has?
I know, it's so cute.
Oh my god. It's already from what I know, it's already been homed. So
Well,
it's already
yeah,
getting a new home. So
she does great at that.
oh yeah. So, you know what? You have to be a really, in my books, you really have to be a special person to do that. You know, to bring in all these animals and stuff like that. But it's got to be tough
It
because,
does.
you know, with my dog, with Max, you know, the first day or second day, I was already in love with the dog. You know, so I can't even imagine what it's like for her. Like she fall in love with the dog but she knows it's going to be going right.
Right.
It's got to be tough. It's got to
I
be
know.
really tough.
My parents and I talked about fostering, but we always decided to rescue because just like
Yeah.
you were saying, you bring them in and you get attached and because you're taking care of them, and it's like, man, I couldn't imagine being able to go, okay, here you go,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. It's tough. Like I couldn't even imagine doing that with Max. It's he's my boy. He's my boy. He's my guy. He's not going anywhere. So
Yeah, I lost mine last October, and it devastated me. And I have two now that are just as fun, but it's like I still miss mine, and it's
what kind
hard
of dog
to.
was it?
It was a miniature schnauzer with
Okay.
its tail. They
Oh
let
wow.
his tail
Okay.
grow,
Okay. Yeah,
and he
mine is a French bulldog, and I like a lot of people that I meet and have dogs or whatever. C-Max, they all agree with me. They think he has a little bit of American bully in him as well, and he's just an amazing dog, but a pain in the butt at the same time. Oh God, like
yeah.
taking him out, like he likes going to this park because he knows there's other dogs there. So he'll actually guide me to go to the park, but God, he's I love him to death. He's a great dog. So
Yeah. Oh, Cal just said she loves her
yeah,
dog
it's too
too
bad.
still.
I'm sorry. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
She's got a
it's the
big
worst.
dog though.
She does.
Mm, yeah.
I
It's a
think she
beautiful
likes
dog
the
though.
big dogs.
Yeah. Well, good for her.
Yeah, ours we have to keep to a small size because we have a dog door. Otherwise,
Okay.
it's like
There you go.
we're gonna be although not lately we've been opening the door anyway to let them out, but
Mm,
they have their own door. It's just sometimes
yeah.
they decide they're gonna use the door, and sometimes they'll look at you like, "Okay, doorman, open the door."
She has a lump.
Aw,
I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully it's
yep,
nothing serious. Hopefully it's just a cyst. It's nothing serious, hopefully.
yep. Schneider
Crossing
said that.
crossing the fingers for you.
Yep, our prayers go out to you, Kel.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, and so it was funny when you came up to me and you were talking about podcasting and vodcasting. And I was laughing after we talked about it. And I go, well, what do we call the hybrids? Because, yes, I'm doing a video podcast, But I also am doing radio podcasts, so it's like I am a VOD, but I'm also a pod.
Oh yeah, I know a lot of people say podcasts. Everybody says podcast, even if it's video. But if you want to get technical, this is a vodcast, and when it's just audio, it's a podcast.
Right.
So, but
That's what I mean is because I'm on a radio station somewhere, and so
yeah,
like
yeah.
I do have just audio, but I also have the video. So I'm like, what are we gonna call those hybrids?
So you're a man of all talents.
I am
Yeah,
jack of all trades.
jack of all trades, for sure, for sure.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kel.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, Kelly. Sorry to hear that.
Well, hopefully they'll
Yeah,
get it removed, and that's the end of it.
you never like to see that.
Nope.
Yeah, it's one thing. It's with animals. Obviously, they don't live as long as we do, and it's tough. It's tough when you get when they're your baby, you know,
Right.
and
But
you have to let
actually,
them go.
one could argue they live longer than we do because they live 7 years for every one of our years.
I know.
I don't
Yeah,
understand how that happened.
yeah. Well, it's 1 year. 1 year to 1 year to a dog is 7 human years, right? So
No, the other way.
the other way. No, that's
When
right, isn't it?
I think it's 1 human year is 7 dog years.
Thought it was the other way. I don't know.
Either
Anyways,
way,
it doesn't matter.
yeah, it's
1 to
like
7. That's all. Yeah, I
yeah.
thought it was one dog year was 7 human years. Yeah, that's what it is. I'm pretty sure that's
Is
what it
it?
is. Yeah. Yeah, that is it.
Yeah, actually, you're right. I remember
Yeah.
now because
Yeah,
I
that
was
is
doing
it.
the math one day.
Yeah.
It was like, man, I'd be really ancient at their
Yeah.
age.
Well, Max will be turning, I guess, human years. He'll be turning 14 in August, but
Lucky
he's
you.
almost 2 years in dog. So, yeah,
Yeah, mine is. I'm guessing in dog years, both of them are now 4, so that would be
24,
28.
28. My math is terrible.
But my dog that passed in October shocked everybody because he lived to be 15 human years.
Wow.
Which their breed normally is
15 dog years.
yeah,
15 dog years. 15 in human years.
would be
35.
about 115.
Yeah, 115. 115. Yeah, 35. Yeah, 115. Yeah.
God, that's just you look at him and you're like, how are you age? You would it's like, how do you age differently when you watch them? It's like it just doesn't seem natural.
Yeah. Well, it's tough nowadays, right? Because they're like, yeah, I think you were lucky to have a dog live to 15 because most dogs nowadays only live from 8 to 10 to maybe 11
Right.
now. And I think that has a lot to do with environment and the food they're eating and all the chemicals in the food. And, you know, all vets want to give them shots all the time. And like when I was a kid, our dog would like I had a dog I had several dogs when I was a kid, but there were a couple dogs that lived to about 17 or 18 years old. It just doesn't happen anymore.
No.
So, and that has it has a lot to do with environment, the vaccines they're getting all the time that vets want to push, and pills and their food, because it's, obviously full of chemicals and crap. So,
Yeah.
it's tough.
We had a vet that in a daycare place that wanted our dogs to get 2 canine flu vaccines in a booster. And I looked at him and I said, I don't even vaccine myself against the flu. Why am I going to vaccine my dog who's in the same environment I'm in, never catches anything? What? Where did this even come from? And they're like, well, you were supposed to along, but we turned a blind eye, but we can't now because there was an outbreak of kennel cough. And it's like,
It's
really?
ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So 1 year now. You say now, Kelly. You said 1 human year is 7 dog years. I'm looking up at the chart right now. Depending on, it's actually 1 year dog, 15 human years. It's actually 15 for
Oh,
1 year.
wow.
Yeah. So it's the opposite. So I'm actually looking at the dog year chart, and which is weird because it says 1 year for a dog is 15 human years, but 2 years old for a dog is 24 human years.
Wait, that doesn't add up.
That's what it shows in the chart right here.
I'm like you. I'm not a mathematician, but
Well,
if
no,
1
obviously
is
it should be
15 and
24.
2
It
is
should be
20.
24, but it's actually the dog year chart is actually saying 24 human years for 2 years old for a dog.
Wow.
And they actually have small breed, medium breed, and large breed. So it even varies on the size of your dog too.
You know what this tells me? We need somebody in our audience that's a dog person to do a show to
Here you
help
go.
us out with this.
Here's even something more interesting. So 1 year for a dog is 15 human years. 2 years is 24. 3 years for a dog is 28.
So what did they stop? They miraculously
It's
at
not
2 stop
going
aging?
once it hits the third year, it's only 28.
It never goes past 28.
Well, no, it's just saying at 3 years old is 28. Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were saying after
No, it
3
doesn't
it stays
stop at
28.
that.
I was like, man, I want to become a dog.
So, so that's interesting. I didn't know that. Okay,
I wonder how they figured that out.
so here you go. So 1 year I said 15, 2 years is 24, 3 years is 28, 4 years is 32 in human years. So there you go.
So it seems like once they hit 2, it becomes a 1-to-4 ratio.
Yeah, and then at 5 years they're 36, and 6 years it's 40.
Yeah, so I guess 1 is their most stressful year, so they age more.
Maybe that's why they put on the extra year, the extra month,
And then
or
2,
extra year. Sorry.
Yeah, and so 2, they're like kind of calming down, and then after that, they're like, okay, we're back to normal.
yeah, that's funny. But I didn't know that. I thought it was every 7 years, but apparently it's not.
Wow.
Yep. Here we go. All this time I thought it was 7 years.
I know, so did I.
Yeah, it
Even
looks
though
like
I
it
had
goes
it
up.
backwards.
Once they go after 3, it looks like it goes up it goes up 4 years instead of 7.
I wonder if they take leap years into account.
I have no idea. I didn't
Dogs
get into that.
Celebrate leap year.
Yeah.
Let's
This
just really
conversation is going in a completely different direction. That's funny. That's funny. Where did that start?
Because I think we started talking about. We talked about Jenny being a rescue.
Yeah, that's right. Jenny Sullivan
mom.
being a fostering animals. I don't think she fosters cats though. I think she only fosters dogs. I think.
No, and I remember she had one that the poor hind legs didn't work, and so they put him on wheels. I said we should get Harley stickers and show a picture of him riding off into the sunset.
Yeah, Jenny was really upset about that one because that one became very, very clingy, and it was very, very difficult to take care of. And Jenny had a real hard time with that one, and she ended up taking it back to the vets. that were taking care of it originally. And from what I understand, she told me that was the only time she's ever done that, because she doesn't normally give up on dogs. But this dog was like, it got to a point where it was so clingy, like she would leave the room, he would start yelping and screaming. Like she couldn't let him go. He had to be in her arms all the time, and it was just too much for her. I felt terrible for the animal, and so did she. But you can only do so much when you have so many other animals to take care of as well.
Oh, I know.
So
And
that was, I know that was really tough for her, and we talked about it quite a bit. And I think I think that was the only time she did that. And she did have, I wasn't sure if I think she had a home for him. I'm not sure, but
she
yeah, that
mentioned
was
to me
tough.
she did.
That was tough. It was like that dog. Like I was on Messenger with her one night, and she would walk away. She showed it to me. She'd walk away and it would start yelping and screaming. And all he did was lay in his pen all day. Like he couldn't
Right.
really do anything, and he was
Yeah.
having problems with the wheelchair that she got him, but he just didn't have enough strength. And but that's tough. That was really tough. So anyhow, let's get off the dog thing.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the other stuff.
Thanks. Are you back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. It looked like
No,
you
I'm
froze
here.
up for a second.
No, I don't think, I didn't see it on my end.
So, being in Canada, what are some of the favorite hotspots you have there?
Ooh. Well, we do have a top 10 here in Canada, and it's I believe, the number one spot is the Tranquil Sanatorium out in Kamloops, BC. It was an asylum. It's actually a small little town, abandoned town, and I think there's a crap load of buildings. That's the number one spot. But for myself, here in Toronto, Blue Ghost Tunnel is on that list that I've been to a number of times. Streaming Tunnel's on that list. There's a church that I go to. There's a bridge that I go to that's extremely, extremely haunted. Not on top of the bridge, underneath the bridge. And there's a couple of bridges here that are haunted. So it's been a little while since I've been out. I went last time I was out. I was at a store. It's about an hour from here. It's a town called Grimsby. The whole town is haunted. Like I've been to like 5 different stores on the main street, and they're all haunted.
Well, with the name Grimsby, it sounds haunted.
Well, Grimsby was the center point of the War of 1812.
Right.
So over 10,000 people died in this town, and it just wasn't soldiers; it was Indians, and it was also civilians that also were killed. I investigated the museum there, the Nellis Manor, which was a great location. That was one of the last standing houses of Grimsby, and the soldiers and the Indians were ordered to protect the home. So kind of why it was the last standing home, but no. So there are a number of places. There's some places. There's about a 4 or 5 hour drive from me. There's a prison that I've been to a number of times. I've been there 3 times, and that's a great spot. Honestly, there's not as many locations here as, like, let's say the States or Europe. So, you kind of got to find your haunted spots. Now, I'm not saying we don't. We do have a lot of haunted spots, but just not as many as you guys and the UK. So there's a few spots that I go to that, unfortunately, and I never encourage this, but kind of trespass. But so there's another place in Hamilton. It's called the Hermitage Ruins. I've been there 3 times. It's a great place. When I first started out in the paranormal, I was doing a lot of home investigations. So it wasn't as many like a hospital or a graveyard or stuff like that. Like we have crap loads of graveyards, but honestly, I'm not a huge fan of graveyards. My personal feeling is that if you pass away, why would you want to hang out in a graveyard? You know, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I know a lot of people like going to graveyards. Me, I'm just not a fan. I think one of the other reasons, and I never really talk about this either, but I think one of the other reasons too is when you're filming, the last thing I want to really do is get their name on camera, the people's on
Right.
the headstones. I think it's kind of disrespectful in a way. That's my opinion. Everybody has their own opinion and stuff like that, and obviously you're entitled to it. But my opinion is I just prefer not to because I I don't know. I've seen too many videos where people have gone in and disrespected the graveyards, and I just don't like it. I think we have to, as investigators, we have to have some kind of moral. You know,
Right.
I think it's important, but I know a lot of people like to investigate them. I just choose not to. I think I've been in over my time. I think I've been in 4.
Yeah. When I investigate a cemetery, the only time I'll ever show the tombstone with the grave, other than doing the overview of showing that I'm in a cemetery, is to say thank you for, if it's a vet, thank you for your service, or like if it's a really pre-Vietnam or Vietnam vet, I'm like, thank you for your service. I'm sorry you didn't get the welcome home that you deserved, and just stuff like that. And so, yeah, I mean, being respectful. But I had a friend that's in Holland who went, if you can believe this, to the Normandy Beach Cemetery,
Okay.
and people were taking the tombstones down, knocking them down, or like pulling them up and laying them down or breaking them. And I was like, do you realize how hallowed and sacred that ground is? That is like beyond like going, the worst thing you could do at a cemetery. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, these are people who died to make you free, and your reaction is, let me just break your tombstone.
And that's what I mean, and that's what I said earlier. I've seen a lot of people go into these graveyards and be very, very disrespectful, and which is a shame. And me and Lex always talk about this. Me and Lex always talk about this on our show. There's a guy that's on YouTube that we don't particularly like very much. I won't say his name, but we all know who he is if you watch Through the Lens. He went into a graveyard, sat on an actual grave, leaned up against the headstone, and did a spirit box. To me, that's disrespectful.
That is.
And what Lex really hates is the fact that 1, he did that, but 2, he's profiting off of it. And it was for that woman that Leanne. What was that woman's name that happened a couple of years ago? From the Watts family. The father killed the mother and the 2 kids.
Oh,
And it was
yeah.
it was a documentary on Netflix.
Right.
And it was her grave. And to me, that is a loser. That is a loser right
Yeah.
there. And he is a loser. And for some of the stuff he does, and people know me, and people know Lex. They'll know who I'm talking about. And the guy's a jerk, and he doesn't deserve to be in this industry, to say the least. This guy is so disrespectful, not only to what he did there, but to other things as well. And why people watch this guy is beyond me. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But that's why I try to stay away from graveyards. Not that I'm going to sit on a grave and do a spirit box or anything like that. I would never do that. But again, it's just one of those things that I'm just not a fan of going. I think it's their last resting spot, and To invade it like some people do, like I've seen, is just completely wrong.
Right.
So what's Kelly asking me? Brian, what's your thoughts on the influx of people recently? Para-unity is non-existent. Oh, Kel. Oh dear. I got, if I were to talk about that, it would be a very, very long show. Unfortunately, and I'm sure you've heard this, Michael. I'm sure you've heard this, Kel. A lot of people talk about it. A lot of people, talk about it, preach it, but they don't practice it. I think there's a lot more that are just saying it so they avoid conflict. But unfortunately, I said this a couple of weeks ago, as much as we would like to have para-unity, I don't think it's ever going to happen. I really don't. And it's not like I don't want it to happen, because I do. I just think reality-wise, it's just not going to happen. And, you're going to have your black sheep of the family that are going to be out there causing all kinds of problems. And it's never going to stop, unfortunately. But I wish people that preached it would practice it. But in reality, I just think it's impossible, to be honest. I think we could talk about it. I just think it's a lot of people out there talk about it. It's just no action. You know what I mean? So I try to stay away from, and honestly, I try to stay away from the word. And not that I don't believe in the word, because I do, but we hear it all the time, like demonic.
Yeah.
We know it doesn't exist. We know demonic really does. I don't know if it doesn't exist, but I think it's overused and overdone, just like para-unity is. You know what I mean? So But Kel, I wish it would happen. But it's funny because obviously, I'm an actor, and I thought the acting world was bad for drama and egos and scandals and all that stuff. Like, we all know that happens in the acting world. But I'm telling you, the paranormal world is 100 times worse. It's 100 times worse.
Oh, yeah.
So
I would totally agree.
Yeah. But you watch TMZ, watch Entertainment Tonight. There's always some kind of drama going on in the acting world. Like somebody's cheating on somebody, or, whatever it may be. But paranormal world, it is completely different. It is awful. It's really, really awful.
It is. And I've even had people who I'm like would work with and do stuff with, and they would be like, oh, we own this, so you can't do this. And I'm like, you don't own anything that I do. I'm a person, I'm not property. And so I've dealt with that, and it's like that's why people are so shocked when I say I'm on like 6 or 7 teams, because they're like, how can you be on all these teams? And I'm like, because the teams I'm on are not like, okay, you are going to use our name, you're only going to talk about us, you're going to do everything for us. And I'm like, no, they're all open and saying, if you want to investigate here, go. If you want to investigate there, go. If you don't even want to investigate, that's fine.
Some of the stuff that I've heard, or even over the last couple of years, on some of these groups and what they do, like what some of these team leaders do to their investigators, is absolutely bonkers. Like, I don't understand. Like, some of these team leaders think they own these people. Like I know there was one podcast that was on this on Parapost Network Central, who's no longer on the page, and there is a reason for it. This person was an absolute jerk to his team leaders, or his team. I'm sorry, he was a jerk to his team, and he's no longer on this page. And if he were to ask me to come back, I would say no. This guy's, I don't know where this guy's head is, but It's not in this reality, because like if his team, if somebody wants to go on a podcast, like if they're asked to come on a podcast, they need his approval. And then if that person goes up, somebody else from the team has to go up as well. Why? Why? Like, I'm assuming that he's talking about himself coming up. Like, from what I heard from this guy, what this guy does to his team, and he's lost team members, and he had a podcast on this page, he's no longer welcome on this page. He's no longer welcome. I removed him. And I don't put up with crap, and I definitely don't put up with people treating other people like crap. I just don't do it. And it's like I was beyond floored when I found out some of this stuff. And that person doesn't deserve to have a team, to be honest. He doesn't. And he definitely shouldn't be a team leader. And people might know who I'm talking about. And if you do, and if this gets back to him, by all means, I hope it does. Because that guy needs to grow up, get a life, and thank your lucky stars. People want to hang out with you in a paranormal investigation. Sorry, I went a little off there, Michael. I apologize.
Oh, no, you're fine. Because it actually goes to a point that I'd like to make is, I am truly grateful to the Paralinx family and Parapost family because, when I started it, my concern was, not knowing what I'm doing. And you guys were like, just do it. Just see what works and what doesn't. And they're like, and I was like, well, how do I get these people? And they're like, you go out and get them, or some will come to you, but we're not going to tell you who to have on your show. We're not going to tell you what format to do or what topics. And I was like, okay. And it's worked. And, here we are, year 2 for this show, new name, new everything. And that was all my choice and my co-host at the time. But
it's interesting because the fact that when I started bringing vodcasts to the page, and we've had some come and go, and it happens, but they always were surprised on, there's not a lot of rules with this page. There's honestly, there's really none, to be honest.
Right.
My only request is putting the Parapost logo on your thumbnail or wherever, like in the back of the screen, like you have it. And to mention Parapost every once in a while on your show. That's all I ever ask. You can do your show whenever you want to do it. If you want to go up one night, go ahead. I don't have a set schedule. I know Paralinx does on Paralinx 1. I know they do. And that's great. And that works for them. For me personally, I didn't want to have a schedule. I wanted people to have a choice. So if somebody came to the page, there was 2 or 3 shows on at once, they have a choice. They have a choice what they can watch. And it's worked. It's worked. And, from where we started from where we are today is a huge jump. Like, I think when I first started Parapost Network Central, I think I had 125 on the page. And that was a year and a bit ago. That was a year and 3 months ago. And now we're almost at 3,500.
Yeah, and I think it speaks volumes to, one, the shows that you have on there, and two, that, I didn't even know about your network until Paralinx said, oh, we're hooking up with our sister network, Parapost. And I was like, oh, okay. So
sister,
what does this mean? And
what is sister?
Sister. But it was like,
it should have been brother.
Well, brother, sister. But yeah, it was like, at first I was hesitant because I was like, I didn't know what this meant. And then they were like, it just means you put their logo on and you go on their network like ours. I was like, oh, okay. And I'm like, so I don't have to schedule anything? And they're like, nope. I'm like, oh, well, then I'm fine with this.
Yeah. We've had some vodcasts come and go, but there's more coming. We're always going to have more coming. You'll always have to have more, because there's going to be a point where we have some on right now that are eventually going to leave themselves, so we got to replace those. So,
Right.
and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to open up the network to other vodcasts other than paranormal, or even live investigations. And that's one of the reasons why. It's one of the reasons why I open it up, because we do have so many coming and so many going, and it's like a revolving door, and I expect that to happen. So if somebody leaves, I want to get another show to fill in. So we had somebody leave. I actually removed, and we had somebody come in. Glenda came in with her show, and she's got 2 or 3 different shows. And Glenda's great. We have another show coming, and they seem pretty popular. It is a paranormal show, but he seems pretty popular. He's pumped to come over to the network. So people might know who he is. I'm not going to mention names until he actually starts,
Right.
but he should be coming in the next week or so. So that's another show that's coming that's going to help everyone else, and it's going to help him, and it's going to help everyone else as well. Because as long as I continually bring them in, it's going to continually help you guys, your show. Because the people that have been watching them on their page now coming over this page will come over to the Parapost Network Central page, or because what I've been doing is, if I bring somebody over, I try them out for a few weeks and stuff like that, and they like it, they want to continue, then I put them onto Paralinx 3, or no, sorry, Paralinx Plus. So that's how it's really been going, and that's what Paralinx does as well. They do it for a few weeks or however length of time they do it, and then they bring them over to Parapost. So it's worked. Honestly, it's worked. We've been doing this since last November.
We have,
and no problems whatsoever. And they do their thing, we do our thing. I bring them shows, they bring me shows, and it works. And Howard's great, Chrissy's great. I know Steven's not really there anymore, but I know he's on the outskirts watching. Right. So it works, and they're wonderful people, and you can thank Matt Barron for that, because Matt Barron is the one that brought us together.
Yeah, and Matt's a cool guy. I like him.
Yeah. He's what you call a podcast whore. he laughs when I say that, because he's always on different podcasts all the time. Not as much recently because of his new job, because he's kind of been working a lot. He's not on as much. If you notice, Matt is coming on at like 1:30 in the morning, 2:00 in the morning, doing a quick show. So unfortunately, he's working so much that it's hard for him to do shows. But Parapost Network Central is missing him, and we need him to come back. So yeah,
I mean, he was really cool, and he would take the time.
He sounds like he's not dead, dude. He's not. He was really cool. No, he's not dead, dude.
Well, I was meaning that he was cool in that when he would do his shows, he would advertise all of our shows without us even asking, and create all these really cool ads for us. And it was like, wow. And I mean, it's not that I miss him for that reason, but I mean, it was fun to talk to the paranormal consultant.
Yeah. One thing if people are watching that are on, that they do have a vodcast on either Paralinx or Parapost, what we really need you guys to do is to share out all the shows. Continually share out the shows. Like every time somebody comes on to Parapost Network Central or Parapost 2, every show I'm sharing it to Huntaphobia or my personal page. Every single show. So so people need to continue doing that, so we can grow this page, so we can bring in more people we can bring in more vodcasts. Because if we get to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,000, we're going to have a lot more vodcasts wanting to reach out and go, can we be part of your network? Now, we all understand why is because of the fact that we have 8, 9, 10,000 people, and they want to get those viewers. But that's okay. That's what we're here for. We're here to broadcast you, to help you grow. And if people like it, people like it. If they don't, they don't. It's just the way it is. But
I spent a couple of weeks practicing to say Huntaphobia.
Really?
Well, because remember on the other show with Kel, I kept saying Huntaphobia.
Yeah.
And so
I don't know. Did I tell you that story of how I got Huntaphobia?
You did?
Yeah, I did. Okay. Yeah, it's nothing glamorous.
It was cracking me up that I was like, I kept getting the name wrong, so I was like, I'm not going to do that on this on this one.
Yeah.
But with that being said, you also have a big event coming up this October.
Yeah, Global Ghost Hunt, the second one. The one in May did extremely well. We got close to just under 140,000 views for the first one, and we're hoping to get a lot more for the second one. We're going to have more teams for the second one. So the event is from the 19th to the 29th. I think a lot of people were surprised for the amount of views that we got in the first one. I was, to be honest. I was very surprised how many views we got and how many interactions we got. Like, it was close to 140,000 for that 10 days. And it just wasn't people in North America. It was people in Australia. It was people in the UK, in Europe, and Canada. It was all over. I'm hoping, obviously I look at the analytics when it comes to Global Ghost Hunt and stuff like that. Like, we're getting views, or like the page, the website itself, we're getting all the way from New Zealand. People come to the page. So the admin staff and myself, we all think the same thing. In a couple of years, this will probably be one of the number one events of the year. And that people will want to be a part of. And why wouldn't you? Like, if you think about it, over 10 days, almost 140,000 views, like, your team is going to be seen. And it's not going to be just seen in North America. It's going to be seen in Europe. It's going to be seen in Australia. So it's going to be seen everywhere. Why not take that opportunity to join? If you want to get your team out there, this is the best way to do it. And
not only team, but if you're a location owner,
definitely.
If you know somebody, you could get a lot of attention.
Yeah, like we have a couple of locations that have come back that were part of May that had teams. They're coming back. The Victorian View, Gilchrist County Jail, the Genesee is coming back. Hopefully they'll get a team in there this time. But yeah, and you hit it on the nail, Michael, that, this not only was good for the teams, but it was great for the locations. And that's what this was about. It was about the locations at the beginning. Teams, yes, obviously you're important, but it was about the locations, because myself and other people on the admin team feel the same way. These locations are getting torn down every year. And why? Why should they be getting torn down? Well, vandalism, not having the money to keep it open. It could be many reasons. So we're hoping that the locations that sign up, that are going to get that attention, that paranormal investigation teams will start booking their spots. Now, obviously, you have your popular spots like the Hinsdale House, Waverly Hills, Penhurst. Those are all great locations. But we're getting locations like the Dumas Brothel, I'd never heard of. That was one location. I'd never heard of the Victorian View. And so these locations that are coming out of the woodwork that are joining the Global Ghost Hunt are getting viewed, are getting seen, and now they're starting to get booked. And that's what the plan is, for them to get booked. so they can, because it's not cheap to keep those locations open. Even if
No.
you have a small little one, you're still paying, you're still paying a lot for property taxes,
And
and
insurance
keeping the
and all
lights on.
that.
Keeping the lights on is not cheap. And let's be honest, it's growing it's increasing or growing every year. And so the goal at the beginning was about the locations and about the teams. So, and that's why I started it. And I know there's another event like it and stuff like that, but they're only one day. We're providing 10 days. So if you want to be a part of this, go over to globalghosthunt.com and sign up, and you will get seen. You will get, I'm telling you right now, you'll get seen
One
from places
question,
all over the world.
yeah. One question that comes to mind that probably a lot of locations are thinking is, do I pick the location in teams, or when it's going to be on the global ghost hunt, or do I get assigned to all of that?
Sorry, what do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Like, if I'm have something going on, but I'm free with my location on, say, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
Are you going to go, okay, well, Saturday, you got this team coming and you're going to be going live at this time? Or do they get to say, hey, Wednesday, you guys can go live at 7 and bring in whoever you want?
No, see, this is, as all the admin staff said throughout the course of the year before the May event, we were all learning from this. Like, none of us had ever done anything like this to this kind of scale. And so when it comes down to it, when people sign up their team, they generally have the date already set. So we're just a matter of finding out what time they're going to be there and what time do they have to leave. And then we schedule it that way. So what I did was I wanted to have really the live investigations. A lot of the live investigations were on the weekends because it's actually, we had 2 weekends during the event. And let's be honest, most investigators go out on the weekends. So
Right.
we had a lot of our lives on the weekends, and people that were taping or recording, we showed them during the week because really they could go up at any time.
Right.
So we had investigations the whole 10 days. There wasn't a night where we didn't have an investigation, whether it was one investigation or whether it was 6. I think on the first Saturday night, we had 6 investigations starting at 3:00 in the afternoon. And the reason why I started at 3:00 in the afternoon, because there was a team from the UK. So, and they're being 5 hours ahead of us. So we also had to consider the time zones as well. It was not fun planning.
No,
It
it
was
never
not
is.
fun planning. But any team that really signs up, they most likely already have their date set, and they just got to let us know what time they're going to start and what time they're going to end. And we also have, which was a benefit for us, we had 2 different StreamYards. So I had mine and we had Matt's. So we were able to do 2 streams at once, which was
Okay.
really good. Or if a team was overlapping another team. So it ended up working out really, really well. I think eventually what's going to end up having to happen is we're probably going to end up having to have 3 StreamYards. So we'll have to use somebody else's. Eventually, maybe even have 4, 5, 6, 7. So the only problem with that is you can't do multiple investigations on YouTube at once.
Right.
So unfortunately, so what we did, because there was a couple times that happened, we ended up having to play it the next day on YouTube. Even though they went live the night before, we put it up on YouTube the day after. So because we wanted to get them on YouTube as well, so people on YouTube can watch them. So it was really a lot of organizing. It probably took us 2 or 3 hours to organize everything. But again, we were all learning from this. This was our first time doing this.
Right.
So we learned a lot. We learned the little things. Like, for example, what I really was doing was when the team came up, we didn't talk to them before they went live. That was a mistake in some circumstances. We should have talked to them because some people had they had problems with portrait and landscape. So they were in portrait and they should have been in landscape. And we should have
Right.
told them that. And so it was those little things that we learned that we're going to be able to correct for October. So, but the only thing we can't correct and we'll never be able to correct is the Wi-Fi. If the Wi-Fi is bad, there's not a lot we can do. But what we tell the teams, if the Wi-Fi is really bad, record for 2 hours. Once you're done that, send it to us and we'll play it during the week. So that was the great thing of having it 10 days, because we had that flexibility if we had that issue that we could put it up during the week.
Right.
Yeah, so
let me ask you this. If, like, when you're saying record 2 hours, is it edited footage?
No.
Or you guys edit it, or nobody?
I want it completely raw. I don't want any glitches in it. I don't want any captions in it. I don't want anything in it like an intro, because we provide the intro for the teams. Like Matt put an intro together that we provide for the teams. So that's done. All you need to do is, if it's now, see, I have the type of camera where it films for 30 minutes and shuts off. Canons are usually like that. That's my camera. I have a Canon. So if you have that, then put it all together, the 2 hours, send it to us, and we will play it. We want everything raw. And the reason why I wanted that is because I want people that are not in the paranormal field to really understand what paranormal investigation is all about. You know, like you could go 5 hours and not get anything. And then for 1 hour, you could have like evidence after evidence. And so I wanted people to really experience what real paranormal investigation is about. And I think they got that. They got that in May. And, you know, it was really, really nice to see. And one thing that I didn't anticipate, and I thought this was amazing, that other teams that were with Global Ghost Hunt were supporting other teams that were like, if we had an investigation one night, there was a team that was there that might be investigating later in the week that was there supporting that team. And that's one thing I didn't anticipate, all the teams supporting each other, which was great. If you want to talk about para unity, the Global Ghost Hunt was para unity right there, because everybody was working together. Even if they didn't think they were, because honestly, I was overwhelmed with the amount of people commenting on how much they were enjoying this. And that all the hours, the months made it worth it for those special comments that we were getting.
That's really cool. And so I guess the only last question is really for you yourself, is if somebody wanted to get a hold of you to maybe has a question on Parapost or Global Ghost Hunt, or doing an investigation, if they want to invite you on one, what's the best way for people to find you?
I don't know if there's one way that they can find me. Obviously, they can find me on Facebook. Obviously, they can find me on Parapost Network, the app. They can also find me in obviously Parapost Network Central, Instagram. A lot of my stuff is under Huntaphobia. So Huntaphobia is on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. They can find me. But if you're on Facebook and you want to reach out to me, just send me a message on my private Facebook, which is Bryan-Jon Laverty, and they can find me there. And if not, if you want to send me an email, you can send it to huntaphobia@gmail.com through the SB7. That is correct, Kelly. That is correct. They can contact me through the SB7. No, but I can be found just about anywhere. So if you want to send me a message, if you want to be on Parapost Network Central, Or if you're an international vodcast, if you want to be on too, just reach out to me and we'll get you set up there. Or if you want to anything else, if you want any information about Global Ghost Hunt, globalghosthunt.com. Very simple. And that's it. That's it. I don't know if they want to. Hey, listen, if they want to email me, they can email me at huntaphobia@gmail.com. There you go. How about that?
There you go. Oh, Kel
WhatsApp. Yeah, WhatsApp. You can mess. Well, yeah, no, not WhatsApp because that means they have to have my number.
Yeah,
And that's that's a little bit creepy.
that's too much connection.
Yeah, Kel has my number of WhatsApp, so there you go. That I never hear from anymore, by the way. I just want to point that out. And I know you got a new man, but that doesn't mean anything. So
So one question I think I'm going to throw at you that you probably have never ever been asked
here we go.
on any show. Are you a cake or pie guy?
A cake or pie guy? Oh. Oh, that's tough. That's a tough question, Michael. If I were to eat cake or pie, oh gosh. Oh, that's tough. That's a tough question. Because there is a cake that I do really, really enjoy if I do have it. That's velvet cake. Have you ever had that?
The red velvet cake?
Red velvet, yeah. Have you ever had that? Oh, it
is good.
That's beautiful cake. And my mother makes a fantastic apple pie. So, it's like over the top fantastic. She could sell it for God's sakes and make a lot of money. I don't know. I don't know. It's like if I had to choose, it'd be apple pie. How about that?
There you go.
But no, I've never been asked that question. Is there a reason why you're asking that question?
Well, I kind of was feeling like we started the show off on random topics and kind of like to keep everything a little different. I was like, so what would be a good indie question? I was like, that's completely random. It would probably throw him.
Never been asked that question. Never been. But see, again, I don't eat that stuff very often. So, yeah, I would have to go with my mother's apple pie. Even though I love red velvet, my mother's apple pie, a la mode, with a little bit of vanilla ice cream on it.
Oh yeah.
God. I can't go wrong with that. What's yours?
Mine would probably be German chocolate cake.
So you're a cake person?
Well, that's my go-to cake.
I don't think I've ever had that.
Oh, German it is so good. It's chocolate with coconut and pecan and frosting. Oh, so good.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Pie.
I don't know if we should really be talking about this. I'm kind of on a fast right now.
Yeah. Pie for me is actually a toss-up.
Yeah.
Between a good cherry pie and a pecan pie.
See.
But I'm from Texas, so I gotta say pecan pie.
Oh, do you? Okay. I have to say I like lemon meringue too. And I do like cherry. It's a really, really good pie. I don't know if you've ever had it. Rhubarb.
I don't think I've ever had a rhubarb.
Oh, that's amazing. Rhubarb pie is amazing. Not as good as apple. I love apple. I like apples, but yeah, that's tough. That's a tough question.
I will say though,
how can anybody choose? They're both good.
But since you brought up your mom's apple pie, to be fair, my one dessert that was always my go-to family-wise was my grandmother's blueberry cheesecake. Oh, it was so
cheesecake too. Cheesecake is good. Yeah. Cheesecake is great. Oh yeah. I gotta stop talking about this.
Yeah.
I'm on a fast right now. So I've been doing 24-hour fast. So I ate earlier today. I had a steak and salad. and then I won't eat till tomorrow at 12.
But steak and salad, that's not a bad meal to go on.
Yeah. So tomorrow, 24 hours. And I did it yesterday to today. And then I'm doing it from today to tomorrow. I'll probably do it till the end of the week. So,
Yeah. I'm not really on a fast, but there are days that I'm like one meal a day is just fine.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? They actually say intermittent fasting is actually really, really good for you.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, folks, thank you for tuning in, and thank you, Bryan, for
thanks for having me, man. And again, my condolences to you and your family as well. But I had a great time today, man. This was a lot of fun. I'm glad we finally got to do it, and I'm gonna get you on the I'm gonna get you on Through the Lens sometime soon.
All right, I look forward to it.
Yeah.
All right. So let me.
Good night, Kel. I know you heard me earlier, Kel.
Oh, she was laughing at the
stranger.
All right, so let's see. Next week we have Ray Savino coming on the show, so you guys want to come and check that out. I may ask him a similar style question.
Yeah,
may not.
It's a good question.
He's Italian, so I may have to come up with a new one.
There you go.
All right, so see you all next week, and thank you all for coming.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
You have just listened to The Energy That Surrounds Us with your hosts, Michael Koff and Carla Norris. Be sure to tune in next week for our next episode.